What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into our plays today. Gonna get them out like a half hour earlier. Made some breakfast, but anyway, first game's not till noon, and most of them are honestly late games. But I'm gonna hit them all in this one video: NBA and college. This is yesterday. We had a good day. We had a net profit day. Even with the Wizards, it was a leg three loss. It was the only leg three we played yesterday. We still had We hit every leg two, which is always nice. And we had a couple of nice plus odds, almost plus 200 on the Panthers cover, and then another 230 with Princeton. So a good day, plus odds day, and like I said, just another testament to the system, why it works when we do a lot of plays. So as far as our plays today, I'm going to hit college first. Actually, I'll hit the NBA because NBA's, again, I can explain them a little easier because I use playoff WWE booking, whereas college I'm literally just fading lines and stuff. So Nuggets Nets here. This one's an interesting one. I do like the Nuggets. I think after the Nets just looked, or the Knicks just looked really to beat the Nuggets. We had the Knicks win in that game, look like a trap, and I think people will, after seeing that, be more inclined to take the Nets here. Nets, they've looked good. They haven't looked, weak by any means. So I think it's a game where it could go either way. Probably won't get a ton of public action, but I am leaning Nuggets. I still think they want to establish them as the best team in the West. Then we got Suns Thunder. I like the Thunder here. I think I don't think they can pull too much ahead of the pack, but right now they're around where all the other teams are. You got Blazers a few games behind, but you have the Lakers, the Jazz, the Wolves, right around this record. So a win for the Thunder. I think it helps them. They needed a little more than the Suns. More importantly, this game, a break-even match, I think people are going to be on the Suns. So I like the Thunder. Here, I like the Hawks to cover. I think, again, they got rid of their coach. They got a new one. Going into the playoffs, I think he needs to look convincingly better than the last coach. So I don't think if he goes into the playoffs with a sub-500 record, it would bode well for him. They have to make the Hawks believable. So having a couple decisive victories and then having a nice margin of victory on his games, as well as just having a nice streak or even winning 7 out of 10 games, something like that, which he hasn't done yet. So I expect him to look pretty good heading into the playoffs. So I think the Hawks cover here. Heat, I'm taking them to cover because of metrics. They're terrible against the spread. It's the only reason. I don't see that many of the public taking them minus 10. Honestly, if I thought it was real, I would look at this and say, hey, the money line value is good for the Pistons. So I think a lot of people are going to be on the Pistons money line and probably staying away from the Heat. Pelicans Rockets. This one's an interesting one. For a minute, I was thinking maybe the Rockets, they do the upset because you have no Zion. And the reason I made it I'll just flip over now because it's the last one. You have one more. The reason I did make it, you'll see I made it a leg one, is because I was going to make the Rockets win. I was going to take them to win the game outright. But you see I did cover because I'm just going to go with the cover. I think 5 points is a little sketchy. People are going to take the win for the upset value. Probably have it on some parlays. Pelicans haven't looked that good. But I think the Rockets cover. So I think this is a good example if we're going to get a cover no win where the Rockets cover, but the Pelicans win. Rockets, sure, they could win, but I just think but I wanted to show you. That's why I'll have some covering, and then right underneath, well, then I got the Bucks covering the Raptors, just so you know that, because I think it's a wide spread. It's like 10 points, right? 9 points. So 9 points, and the Bucks are going to cover that. Now, again, the Rockets, I opted to go with the cover. With the Blazers and the Magic, I'm going with the wins. And it's because with the Rockets, it's more because I just think it's a tight spread where it just screams win no cover for the Pelicans. And I could be wrong. Or maybe even an upset. Whereas Clippers really desperately need this win. I don't think they're going to rule out the Blazers with like 5, 6, 7 games to go. And if they lose this game, they're going to basically fall into Magic territory, which is the reason I have the Magic winning. Because the Raptors are probably going to lose, and the Bulls and the Wizards, their records aren't phenomenal. The Magic, with the win here, I think they'd be 3.5 or 4 games out. Okay, and they play the Bulls, I think, too. So with both of those things being considered, I think it does stand the reason the Magic would win this game, and I like the value. Only getting 2-1 is pretty ugly for the Magic beating the Lakers. So I think people are going to pound the Lakers. Lakers, again, they could lose this game. 34 wins. I have the Thunder winning, so they'd be 1 game out. But with the 37 losses, they'd be like a half a game behind the Thunder. Again, it would keep the Blazers close, Jazz. It would just keep them all closer. And in the East, the Magic getting up to 30, like I said, they lose, they're basically out. And they're basically out anyway. But if they can draw ratings, sell tickets, I think they're going to do it. So I think there's a good chance that the Magic win that game. Now, like I said, my college plays, they're all metrics. So that's why, there's really nothing to show you there. That's why I just write them down. So I got Xavier covering Pitt because Pitt's really good against the spread. And I also think a lot of people are going to be on Pittsburgh, to be honest. Kansas State I have covering Kentucky because it looks like a very shady line. I don't think that many people are going to be on Kansas State, so I took them to cover. I took Michigan State to cover Marquette for the same reason. It looks like a shady line. So I think Michigan State's going to make that cover. I have UConn covering St. Mary's. I think you need some, you can't have them all where they're all just upsets and things of that nature. So I think UConn definitely wins. The question is, do they cover? I think they do. Creighton, I got them beating Baylor. It's a break-even game, so, it's going to be even odds. But yeah, I like them to win the game. I wanted to pick Farley Dickinson so bad. Yeah, I really did. I wanted to take them. Hey, maybe they got 2 upsets in a row. Who would see that coming? The problem is, I did it with Princeton and it worked out. But like I said, I don't think they're going to have a bunch of teams doing this. I think they're going to have a couple teams make runs, and there's no upsets today. The biggest spread, I think, is 4.5 points for UConn. It's like the biggest spread. So everybody that wants to get an upset is going to be on Farley Dickinson. So sure, they might cover, but I just really, the money line, I don't see the value because I just don't see the people. I don't see people taking, FAU. I think anyone playing college that thinks it's real is going to look at it and they want to find an upset. This is the only one where you're getting value on. So I think FAU smashes them. I do. I'm going to go with them for the cover. I like Indiana to cover Miami because my red and white theory. That's why I had Arkansas winning. That's why it doesn't always work out. But we have a decent amount of red and white teams that have made it pretty far. So I looked at it yesterday. I think we're almost at the Sweet 16, and we're going to have about 8 red and white teams specifically. So, and if you really look at a random college team, you could say, oh, well, they're common colors. They kind of are, but not really. Red and white probably comprises of maybe 5 to 7% of total teams' colors if you're talking about their main colors. So, again, it's pretty interesting. The red and white, the red and black, I've noticed. So, I like Indiana for the cover. And I went with Gonzaga to cover TCU. I really don't know on that one. That one and Creighton and Baylor, I'll be honest. I just wanted to play all 8. I'm not, there was nothing crazy that made me jump and say, I just figured we'd play all 8. We did good yesterday. Yesterday we had some upsets, but, we were able to get Princeton. We're not playing upsets today in college, but my point is I like playing all 8. We got 8 of each, 8 college, 8 NBA. And again, the leg 2s are very simple, like I said. So for Xavier to cover Pittsburgh here, we had Duke covering Tennessee. They did not. So we just plugged this in. UCLA did not cover Northwestern yesterday. So my UConn coverage is going to move there. Fun fact about UConn. If you go back and watch, a month or so ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, it was beginning of the season of the so it's probably closer to 2 months ago. It was beginning to the first quarter of the NCAA basketball season, and I was fading UConn every week, every day, because I was showing how their record against the spread was not going to hold. They were 11-0 against the spread. So we just started fading them, and now they're not even in the top 15 against the spread. So UConn's paid us out incredibly well this year. So a little fun fact. And now we're actually taking them to cover a spread, which is just nuts because, again, they were so good against the spread. We were fading them on a daily basis. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm just plugging in the leg 2 units for our leg 1 losses. And again, if there's a 12 o'clock game, so say Xavier doesn't cover, we can just plug in the leg 3. We only have one leg 3, but if they're not the cover, hypothetically, we could just plug in this. Yeah, okay, that's what it was. It's going to be the Hawks. We're going to make it a leg 3. I was looking at all the NBA games, and I don't like to pick too many leg 3s. I like to pick my favorite leg 3 of the group, and it is the Hawks cover for the reasons I went over. I don't think it's worth playing for the... But yeah, so hypothetically, let's just say Xavier, right? Like any of these leg 2 lose, cover in the Hawks, right? Obviously, a team that plays before the Hawks, so it's for a leg 3. So it doesn't matter what it's for, but just for now, just to show you guys, this is like a way that you can do it where, you don't need to watch every video. Not that I don't want you watching the videos, but you can see that for ones that are outstanding, like Magic Lakers leg 2, and I go to yesterday where we had the Celtics did not cover the Jazz, plug it in. But, like I said, we have a 12 o'clock game, which is Xavier Pitt. If that's not to cover, Hawks, just plug that in as leg 3. If it does cover, Hawks is still going to be a leg 3. It'll just be for another leg 2 loss. Okay, so it doesn't have to be for that specific game, as I've gone over. I was just showing you that's another way you can do it. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll run contingency games. I'll run a leg 1 with a certain team in a conference. And then if that team wins or loses, I'll run leg 2 with another team in that conference. I'll do it with football divisions and footballs and things like that. But not to belabor it, just basically letting you know, leg 3s, if you're new to my channel, is just 4 units. It's another double up. So if Xavier were to not cover, but we've got the Hawks, we would win plus 1 unit on the entire sequence. And that's why we're over like 145 units in the net right now, because simple, methodical, money management. So yeah, the only leg 3 is going to be the Hawks to cover the Spurs. You can see our leg 1s. Blazers, I'm keeping that as a leg 1 because it's for better value. Bucks is a leg 1. Rockets covers a leg 1. Heat covers a leg 1. Nuggets is a leg 1. And the Hawks is the only leg 3. I did go ahead and make the Thunders a leg 2 and the Lakers a leg 2, so that'd be a nice payout, the Lakers payout, because I have the Magic beating them, and we're getting good odds on it as it stands. So we're getting 2-1, and we're doing 2 units on it. So that's where, again, the system can be really nice when we hit leg 2s. Like last night, again, the Panthers covered on a leg 2, and we were betting 2 units. So we got 2-1 on 2 units. So it's just really nice. And people have noticed the difference since we've been picking more underdogs and things of that nature. So I want to get these out so you can get every pick in, all 16 of them. If I find any hockey, I'll get them out too. So take care and happy earnings.